The U.S. Senate stands poised to vote on the fate of the Keystone XL pipeline. Supporters need 60 votes to approve legislation paving the way for the controversial project. It's not clear they've got 60. Chief Washington correspondent Peter Cook is on the Hill with a major, a Republican, I should say, from the leadership team backing the bill. And, you know, Peter, we just got word that Senator Landrieu was saying that she may not have the vote she needs. She's telling colleagues, apparently, this is via an aide, to get Keystone through.
That's right, Trish. She needs 60 votes, and we're going to talk with Senator John Barrasso, the Republican from Wyoming, number 4 Republican in the Senate leadership team, exactly where things stand right now. Mary Landrieu has told her own colleagues, listen, I'm short. She may be stuck on 59. There's still some time before the vote. Can you get to 60?
Well, I hope we do, and if we can't, we're certainly going to be there in January when the Republicans are in the majority after the results of the election 2 weeks ago.
Now, let me ask you exactly what the debate, how it's played out. We've heard this debate somewhat on the floor in the past. We certainly have heard it over in the House of Representatives. Barbara Boxer, other critics saying, listen, this project is not that important to the United States. 35 permanent jobs, and most of this oil is going to go overseas. How do you respond to that this is not in the nation's interest?
Well, the president's own State Department said 42,000 jobs.
Most
said
of them construction, temporary jobs.
Jobs that unions want, jobs that certainly the states want where the pipeline is going, and 100,000 barrels a day of this oil is going to be Montana, North Dakota oil. So it's not just Canadian, but certainly North American energy security is more important than sending U.S. dollars overseas to Saudi Arabia, to Venezuela, to people who are not necessarily our friends. So in terms of energy security for us as a nation, I think it's critically important. But we've been waiting now 6 years as the administration has continued to drag its feet, held hostage by environmental extremists, and it may happen again today, but we're going to put this on the president's desk at the latest in January.
Well, even in January, you've got the threat of a presidential veto. Today, the White House is keeping its cards close to the vest, but pretty clear this president is certainly not prepared to support this before the formal review process is over. What about that? The president stepping in to veto something because he says, listen, the process hasn't run its course. Let's wait.
There have been 5 different environmental examinations, explorations over the last number of years. All of them have come through saying this is not detrimental. You know, there isn't necessarily a direct trade-off between energy security and environmental stewardship. As coming from Wyoming, one of the most beautiful places in the world, we do both. We make sure that we protect our environment as well as develop our energy resources, and it's important for our economy, not just in Wyoming, but also nationally.
There's been a lot of politics tied to this debate over the last couple of years, and certainly in the last week. Mary Landrieu, she's fighting to save her Senate seat. There was some question whether Republicans would try and block her efforts to try and get this vote because it might help her in her race against Bill Cassidy. At the end of the day, do you think Mary Landrieu has been helped in her race against Bill Cassidy?
Well, we're going to find out in the beginning of December. I believe that Bill Cassidy is going to be the 54th Republican senator as a result of the elections that occurred 2 weeks ago and now the runoff coming in Louisiana. I support Bill. He's done a terrific job. He would be joining me on the Energy Committee. I'm looking forward to that. He knows the importance of this program to jobs in our country, and this is a bipartisan piece of legislation. It passed the House with 31 Democrats voting for it. I think there are going to be Democrats voting for it today in the Senate. This is about the president and his policies, which on these issues have been very extreme.
Let's talk about some of the other issues that you and this president may have to do battle over, and even in the next couple of days. The issue of immigration, the president maintaining his pledge, he's going to step forward with these executive orders on immigration. How should Republicans respond, and are you prepared, as some other Republicans are, to tie this spending bill due by December 11th, try to use that to block the president's actions, even if it risks a government shutdown?
My focus is keeping the government open, but hopefully the president will at least have cooler heads at the White House to prevail upon the president to perhaps he ought to take a second look at the editorial in today's Washington Post that told the president this was a mistake to try to use this executive order on executive amnesty. There are a number of Democrats advising the president not to do this. We need to reform our immigration laws. This is absolutely the wrong way to do it. But the president once again is running around doing an end run on the American people. We see it with his announcement in China with regarding to climate and concessions that the U.S. must make long before China does anything, and as well as he's doing the same thing with regard to Iran and our efforts to put sanctions there. Any agreement is supposed to go through the American people, the United States Senate, and the president says, no, I want to do it in a way that doesn't come back to public.
The president certainly made the case that Republicans in the House have had the opportunity to act on the Senate immigration bill. He's been waiting for action there. He's acting because Republicans haven't.
Well, he's also said over a year ago that this would be wrong for him to act this way, and he said not too long ago he didn't have the authority to do it. Now he claims to have the authority. We've just had an election 2 weeks ago. The people of America say, those who we elect, we want you to get something done. Go work together in a cooperative way. Let these newly elected people come into office, take the oath of office, and work to reform immigration laws. This government doesn't do big, comprehensive things well. We've seen this with the health care law, which as of today is more unpopular than ever before. The same thing with immigration. We need to do that in a bipartisan way.
Just so I'm clear, you and Leader McConnell, other Senate Republican leaders, are you all prepared to risk the possibility of a government shutdown if that's what it takes to stop the president from doing this?
We've been very clear we're going to keep the government open, where there's not going to be a shutdown, there's not going to be a default on the national debt. We're going to work to find cooperative ways to get things done for America.
But it is safe to say that there will be some form of GOP response if the president moves ahead with this. He's going to pay some price for this?
Well, we'll use all the options available, taking a look at what the president's doing and what we believe is legal or not legal as part of that. But I think the cooler heads need to prevail at the White House. They ought to take a look at the things that have been, I thought, thoughtfully put forward by people who often agree with the president, such as the Washington Post, that this would be a major mistake on the part of the president.
All right, last real quick question to you. Obamacare, this has been a big issue for you. How quickly in the new year will the Republican-controlled Senate move to repeal Obamacare?
There'll be a vote to repeal at the very minimum. We need to strip out the damaging parts of this law. We saw just Saturday, the new rates have come out. Rates have skyrocketed across the country, plus people are facing higher copays, higher premiums, and that's why today, in addition to Professor Gruber's comments, today the health care law is at the lowest level of popularity ever.
All right, Senator John Barrasso, thanks very much for joining us. We've got that vote, Trish, coming up 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Keystone Pipeline. We'll see if Mary Landrieu has her 60 votes.
All right, we'll see. Thank you so much.